Hey, Sal.
Hank, what's going on? We haven't worked a case in years.
I just bought my car at Carvana, and it was so easy. Too easy.
Think something's up?
You tell me. They got thousands of options. Found a great car at a great price. And it got delivered the next day.
It sounds like Carvana just makes it easy to buy your car, Hank.
Yeah, you're right. Case closed.
Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Mike Lawler, the king of Rockland County, President Trump calls him Mr. Salt. Mikey, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sid. How are you?
I'm great. This story in Chicago, though, is really disturbing. We're watching the mayor, Brandon Johnson, who may be every bit as bad as Mamdani, although I don't think he is, but he's right there. And the governor, J.B. Pritzker, who's right there with Hochul. You know what I mean? Between Illinois, New York, and California, we've got 6 real losers. Losers. Bass and Newsom as well. But watching them speak after an 18-year-old girl was tragically murdered, shot in the back in cold blood, a college student, has to scare the hell out of you. And for you, Mike, it gets even worse because she's got ties to your district?
Yeah, Sheridan Gorman, the 18-year-old girl, born and raised in Yorktown Heights in my district.
Wow.
Same community that AOC is from. And here's the juxtaposition. AOC keeping the government shut down because she doesn't want our immigration laws enforced. And this poor young girl, 18 years old, brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant that AOC, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and every Democrat is more than happy to keep in our country. I can't stress this enough. If you look at what is happening right now, the Democrats have effectively shut down the Department of Homeland Security, the department that is tasked with ensuring that illegal immigrants do not come into our country, the department that is tasked with trying to deport criminal aliens out of our country. They have shut them down because they do not want our immigration laws enforced. And this criminal, this illegal immigrant, Jose Medina, came into our country in 2023. He was detained at the border. He was released under Joe Biden's catch and release policy. He was released into the United States, went to Chicago, committed a crime. He was arrested for shoplifting. And under Chicago and Illinois' lax criminal justice policies, just like here in New York, he was released back out onto the street, and he brutally murdered this 18-year-old girl who had her entire life ahead of her. It is absolutely shameful when you hear the way the politicians in Chicago and Illinois are talking about this. A city councilwoman saying that this poor young girl was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Are you fucking kidding me?
Whoa.
The wrong place at the wrong time?
Yes. Alderman
No, you know
said
who
that.
was in the wrong place?
The illegal.
The illegal immigrant was in the wrong place. He shouldn't have been in this country. And so to listen to these people, J.B. Pritzker can't even be bothered to talk about this poor young girl. Hakeem Jeffries was asked point blank, should this illegal immigrant be deported? And what was his response? Oh, I need to look into it more. Fuck you. Look into it more. You got to be kidding me, these people. Chuck Schumer is the single biggest asshole in America. He needs to leave elected office immediately. This guy has been in elected office for over 50 years. He has taken every position under the sun on every issue. That is how broken he is, how corrupt he is. A complete political hack that has been allowed to stay in elected office for too long. He shut down the government because he's so petrified of AOC and his far-left base. He did it in October. He's done it again. Do you know in this fiscal year, Sid? Think about this. In this fiscal year, which starts October 1st, the Department of Homeland Security has been shut down for more than half the time.
Wow.
These folks are an embarrassment to our country. To allow this to happen because they don't want to have an honest debate. You want to have an honest debate about immigration enforcement? You want to talk about federal judicial warrants? Then let's talk about the detainer request that the Democrats refused to honor. Let's talk about sanctuary city policies. You want to negotiate? Then let's negotiate. Let's have a real honest negotiation. The administration has offered them numerous concessions, including the fact that Kristi Noem was fired. And yet they still can't take the win, if you even view it that way. But they can't even take a yes for an answer. They keep moving the goalposts, and they are putting innocent people in harm's way. What happened in Minneapolis was entirely avoidable. Those protesters never should have been in contact with ICE agents. They never should have been anywhere near the immigration enforcement actions that were taking place. Why were they so close to them? Because the Minneapolis Police Department was prevented from doing their job by Jacob Fry and Tim Walz. They were not allowed to cooperate on things like crowd control and traffic control. That's why you had that situation in Minneapolis. That's why it spiraled out of control. The reason ICE needed to surge in Minneapolis and remove over 4,000 criminals off the street is because feckless piece of shit politicians like Tim Walz refused to allow law enforcement to do their jobs and cooperate.
Well, a very emotional Mike Lawler here. You're exactly right. And you could have made the argument, clearly very emotional, and you're right. You could have made the argument that Renee Good and Alex Preddy were in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's why they're dead. But not this young girl yesterday. It's going to get worse, Mike. You're already very upset, obviously, and I love you for that. But did you see the college newspaper? She went to Loyola. The name of the paper is called the Loyola Phoenix in Chicago. They initially, when she was murdered, put up the headline that one of their very own was murdered by an illegal alien. Do you know that yesterday they retracted and apologized for that, saying basically what Mamdani said about me, calling somebody illegal is dehumanizing? They apologized to the murderer. That is where our country is, and that's terrifying.
What is dehumanizing is that an 18-year-old girl was brutally executed when she was out with her friends trying to see the Northern Lights. That's what's dehumanizing. What's dehumanizing is that a family is left devastated because their daughter is never coming home. That's what's dehumanizing. And I think it is unconscionable that at a moment in time where you have innocent Americans being murdered in the streets, this is why we passed the Laken Riley Act. And you have Democrats like Angie Craig apologizing that she voted for it. Apologizing that she voted for the Laken Riley Act. Why? Because it would actually enforce our immigration laws, and it would say that you have to cooperate if you arrest somebody for an offense like shoplifting. So if this law had been in effect back in 2023, the Laken Riley Act that we passed in 2025, Jose Medina would have been turned over to ICE, as he should have been. This is the fundamental problem. There's no respect for the rule of law. There's no respect for the laws that are on the books. My wife is an immigrant. I am for immigration in our country. We need immigrants in our country. But there has to be a legal process by which people come into this country. And if you come into this country illegally and you break the laws while here,
Goodbye.
You should be gone. Period.
Deported.
Full stop. Right. End of story.
No, come on.
This isn't that complicated to understand.
No.
And when and when you look at jurisdictions like New York that have the most disastrous criminal justice policies, cashless bail, raise the age. Do you understand what's happening here? You have under raise the age, 16 and 17-year-old kids that are being treated in family court rather than criminal court. And you know what the problem is? The gangs understand that. And they get these kids involved because they know they're going to get a slap on the wrist. They give them guns. They use guns in the commission of a crime. You know, I hear Democrats always talk about how we need to have stricter gun laws. They don't fucking enforce the gun laws we have on the criminals. They go after lawful gun owners, no problem. Criminals who use guns in the commission of a crime, no, we got to release them back out onto the street. Give me a break.
Oh, you're right again.
You know,
I know, sir.
And you had Rod Blagojevich, the former governor, comes out and says, and this needs to be investigated. He says that potentially this is tied to a gang initiation.
Yeah.
And
right.
that wouldn't shock me in
no,
the least.
not at all. Right.
Because this is precisely what is happening on our streets in New York City.